guys, what's up? It's me, Thomas. Tonight we're back here with Food Theory. Tonight, well, oh boy, we got Logan Paul here. You know what that means. He's usually done something bad. This one's called Logan Paul is Lying About Prime. I actually never really heard of Prime, to be honest. I just never really gotten around to trying the drink, which I'm guessing after this video, I might be glad I didn't. But, well, can't say for sure until we get started, so let's learn more about Logan Paul's drink. So be sure to like, subscribe for more. Hope you enjoy. Let's go.
Almost exactly 1 year ago, massive YouTubers Logan Paul and KSI joined forces to launch Prime, a sports drink brand that's coming after the likes of Gatorade and Powerade. And now, almost exactly 1 year later, this stuff is everywhere. It's in stores.
I don't think you're gonna see this coming. Look at this.
No! Don't tell me.
It's the official drink of the UFC. It's in almost every YouTube short that I get recommended. Prime. This stuff even got itself a Super Bowl commercial. Hold on, rewind that back. Is that Markiplier?
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Ah, damn it. I guess I gotta try it. Hello, Internet. Welcome to Food Theory, where red-hot drinks get cold, hard facts. And let me just cut right to the chase with this one. Prime is massive and is currently on track to be the most successful creator startup brand ever. In its first year, it reportedly has earned $250 million in revenue. Now, it's always important to remember that revenue is very different from profits and that those sorts of numbers can be the result of a lot of different factors, so take all of that with a grain of salt. But to give that $250 million some context, Mr. Beast's Feastables chocolate brand reportedly had $10 million in sales its first year. Any way you slice it, the numbers here are eye-watering. Here's the thing though, I don't buy it. Something's not right about all this. Don't get me wrong, I'm normally eager to celebrate the success of any creator-led business, but Logan Paul, for some reason, I just get a little suspicious of things that he puts his name to. Not really sure why.
Today, we're investigating Logan Paul's CryptoZoo, a blockchain game that made millions but never worked.
I'm moving to Puerto Rico. I feel like people are wondering why Puerto Rico, right? Taxes. It's one vertical. It's a big one.
We found a dead body.
I want to apologize to the internet.
Yeah, can't quite put my
I
finger
wouldn't
on
really
it,
trust
just
the
a hunch,
Paul
I guess.
brother.
So today, I wanted to take a closer look at Prime to see if it's really the wonder product everyone's making it out to be. Is this the next major thing in sports hydration, or is it yet another Logan Paul get-rich-quick scheme? Spoiler alert, it's a little bit of both, actually. So the thing that I've been seeing crop up again and again have been videos like this, where Logan compares popular sports drinks to Prime. Prime versus Gatorade, Prime versus Red Bull, Prime versus Liquid IV.
All right, we're going bottle for bottle. These are all facts.
And every time it seems like it's a win for Prime. Then again, I suppose if it weren't, the video wouldn't exist in the first place, you know? So anyway, I wanted to zoom in on one of these stat battles to see if there's any truth to Logan's pitch.
Which
The
one?
one I want to focus on is against Prime's biggest rival,
Gatorade.
the granddaddy of sports beverages. And immediately,
I would have said Godfather, but then again, like I said, I'm actually just going with this since, you know, sugar-free, tastes great, like Patrick says, you know, got some 100 milligrams of caffeine, so I'm good. And like I said, it's fun, got 28 gallons, so definitely a lot more. Hey, if I got the plug G's gamer subs, I'm in. Moving on.
without any words even leaving his mouth, there's a red flag. The bottle difference. Off the bat, Logan is using Prime's 500 milliliter bottle, and he's comparing it against Gatorade's larger 591 milliliter bottle. So when he says things like this,
Gatorade has 36 grams of sugar in it.
sure, it might be true, but that's also talking about a bigger serving size. It's something that Logan even calls out later in the video.
And a bigger bottle.
But then doesn't correct the math for. So you know what? I'm gonna do exactly that. I'm gonna compare the two drinks milliliter for milliliter rather than bottle for bottle like he does. He starts off with sugar, so we're gonna do that too. 36 grams for Gatorade versus 2 for Prime. That'd be 60 milligrams per milliliter for Gatorade and 0.4 milligrams per milliliter for Prime. Victory for Prime, right? Well, don't call this one just yet because he's not making a truthful comparison.
It says carbohydrates.
For the Gatorade, the 36 grams he's pulling is from the total carbohydrate number on the nutrition label. But for Prime, he's pulling the total sugars amount, a lower subset of the total carbs number. However, if he were truly comparing the two drinks fairly and correcting for the volume of liquid, it'd be 28.7 grams of total sugar in Gatorade versus 2 in Prime. Still a win for Prime,
Again,
and still by a wide margin, but at least the numbers are accurate and fair rather than artificially skewed. Next up, calories.
Why is he lying,
Gatorade
though?
has 140
calories.
That Prime only has 25.
Yeah, this is accurate. The higher sugar content is really propping up Gatorade's number here. Comparing per milliliter, Gatorade's looking at 0.25 calories per ml versus Prime's 0.05. Prime is literally a fifth of the calories once you normalize the data. Last, but certainly not least, the biggie, the stat that seems to bury Gatorade.
For both electrolyte drinks, Gatorade has 350 milligrams of electrolytes. Prime doubles it with 825 milligrams of electrolytes.
That is a massive difference, literally a 2x difference. But 2x of what exactly? What do those numbers actually mean? Like, Gatorade has been the go-to sports drink for decades. How could this newcomer just swoop in and dominate so completely? This too set off a lot of red flags.
Yeah, there's something going on here.
Right? Clearly something's gotta be wrong here.
Can we check the label?
Let's start with the basics. The first thing that Logan says, they're both electrolyte drinks. What's that mean? Well, a sports drink, otherwise known as an electrolyte drink, is legally defined as any non-alcoholic beverage containing electrolytes or glucose that's intended to be consumed in order to replenish electrolytes that are lost during exercise. Quote-unquote sports drinks don't require FDA approval, so they won't include any kind of special labeling unless they have caffeine. So in general, this category is pretty darn broad. As far as I can tell, there doesn't seem to be any sort of minimum requirements for electrolytes, calories, no calories, sugar, vitamins, anything else. The definition is largely marketing-based, which is why when you walk down the sports drinks section of the grocery store, there's a huge range of options with vastly different ingredients. Based on the loose definition that does exist though, safe to say that Prime qualifies as a sports drink and that having electrolytes has a lot to do with it. But that then begs the question, what is an electrolyte? When I first started writing this episode, I thought I had a rough idea, but I wasn't totally sure. It's just one of those words that gets tossed around a lot when you see the imagery of a sweaty Michael Jordan guzzling down a Gatorade or a football coach getting the whole water cooler dumped on him. But chemically, what are they and why do you need them when you're playing sports? Well, at the basic level, electrolytes have the word electro in them, which is exactly what it sounds like, electricity. Electrolytes are charged molecules, meaning they can either have a positive or negative charge, and as a result, they play a big role in transporting things around your body. There are only 8 electrolytes that are typically listed in foods: sodium, potassium, chloride, phosphorus, calcium, magnesium, and bicarbonate. Most of which probably sound somewhat familiar because you've been hearing about them since the 90s when they tried to make SpaghettiOs look healthy. In general, electrolytes are responsible for helping your brain fire off messages between neurons, helping your cells produce energy, and regulating the amount of fluids in your body. When it comes to exercise, they also help regulate the contraction of all your muscles, meaning that if you lose too many electrolytes, your body physically can't send off the electrical charges it needs to flex your muscles anymore. And it turns out that when you exercise a lot, you lose a lot of electrolytes in your sweat. You see, since a large percentage of your body is water, and electrolytes are polar charged molecules, they move around really easily in your watery bloodstream, and they end up getting squeezed out the other end of your pores when you're getting sweaty with your best bros. The idea of drinking a sports drink instead of just water is that when you're exercising intensely for long periods of time, you're losing so much water that you're actually washing the electrolytes straight out of your system, and you're gonna start feeling tired and sluggish without those things. But how much are you really losing here? A few drops of Gatorade on the brow isn't gonna be needing a 20 ounce of Gatorade and hundreds of milligrams of electrolytes, right? Well, not so.
Yeah, I actually do remember this question, because I actually didn't remember from like this BBC article, which was like a Canadian broadcast thing. It was like Your Marketplace about sports drinks. Yeah, turns out you don't really lose a lot. Like, you have to be like pro athletes kind of deal to actually need a sports drink. Like, for us, no, not so much. Just water will do fine. Like, yeah, you're right. Regular water will help with electrolytes. At least that's what I remember from the BBC thing. Or I think it was called hold on, I think it was BBC Marketplace, right? I'm sorry, I gotta remember. Let's see here. It was, I think this was it. Okay, I'm getting CBC news. Okay, oh yeah, CBC. Okay, my bad. Okay, so yeah, be surprised. Like I said, you'd be surprised. I'll just let it reveal.
so fast. Of course, all exercise and water loss is going to be totally dependent on your body, your exercise routine, your environment, but in the case of serious athletes, we're not talking about a little sprinkle. In Carl Gisolfi's article, Water Requirements During Exercise in the Heat, he notes that while exercising in the heat, the body can lose as much as 3 to 4 liters of water every hour. That is almost a gallon. You can lose more than that over the course of several hours. A gallon of water lost is over 8 pounds of body weight that you just sweated right out of your system, which if it sounds like a lot, it is. This is why you see boxers trying to sweat off the pounds before a weigh-in, because water weight actually makes a massive difference. Unfortunately, you just can't sweat it out forever. As soon as you start to lose more than 2% of your total body weight in water, you actively start to experience symptoms of dehydration, including headaches, nausea, cramping, and fatigue, because your body is shutting down without the ability to regulate and contract your muscles. For a 150-pound person, this means that losing more than 3 pounds of water, or just over 1 liter, can cause your whole game to suffer. And thus, you can really start to see why the sports drink market is such a thriving business. People working hard jobs all day are losing water and electrolytes constantly, and those things need to be replaced. On the flip side, if you're like me and just popping into the gym to hit the old stride machine for 20 to 30 minutes a couple days a week, chances are you don't need to be refueling with sports beverages because you're not losing enough water and electrolytes. You can stick to the water, save some money, just stop being posers about it. Knowing all of this, do Logan's stats here line up? Yeah, kinda. If anything, he's underselling Prime in this category, which seems incredibly sussy for a guy like him. He says Prime has 825 milligrams of electrolytes, but according to my calculation, it should be 835. 700 milligrams of potassium, 124 of magnesium, and 10 of sodium or salt. Gatorade, meanwhile, is exactly what he says it is. 270 milligrams of sodium and 80 of potassium for a grand total of 350. To recap, well, yes, some of the comparisons were biased in Logan's favor. When I normalized the data, Prime still won. Am I gonna have to give the dub to Logan? Ooh,
well,
no,
you did
not
say
yet.
both.
Maybe the
Hold
difference isn't nutritional here. Maybe it's all taste-based. Maybe the flavor of these things
Coconut
sucks.
water.
To know for sure, I bought every flavor of Prime, and then I bought every other sports drink on the market with similar flavors. In total, we had 52 drinks spanning Prime's 7 core flavors. Though, to be fair, some categories were more contested than others. We then set up a series of blind taste tests to see which brand would come out on top. All right, Josiah, thanks for joining me here on Food Theory. We have a selection of basically every sports beverage that I could find at like the 3 local grocery stores. And I need you to go down the line and just tell me which is your favorite and what is your least favorite, please.
Okay.
Okay?
Wow.
What do you mean, wow?
That one tasted a bit saltier, actually, than these other two. My top was B. And my least favorite was D. C was my second favorite.
Whoa! Okay.
Really? Second favorite for Prime. Whoa! Okay, it's John now. Let's see what you got.
Ooh. That one has a good aftertaste. That's really
okay.
Oh, actually, the aftertaste sucks.
Oh, never mind.
Bad.
I was about to say, like, oh, never mind. Okay,
that one's about the same, but a little fruitier. C's the best one. As a true American, I need my high fructose corn syrup. So,
you just picked Prime.
Just picked Prime.
Damn. Damn, that's twice. Oh, hi, Tom.
That's weird.
What's that reaction?
That's like...
Use the British tea. Sorry,
that feels like salty, immediately salty.
Again, that's Powerade for you.
Again, that's wildly different.
Oh?
That is... I wouldn't have said that was orange if I didn't know that was orange. I can tell you my worst two. D and F.
D and F.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely. Best?
And best?
A and C, I think will be my top two.
Okay. The one that you said is wildly different from the others, but really
that was Prime.
Yeah, E.
That is Prime.
Okay, because it's like, it wasn't bad.
Bad?
Like I say, I think F and D were worse from a flavor perspective, but it was just really odd.
So I want to get on the action as an extra test subject, so I'm not involved with any of these from here on out.
You better not. Okay.
Ooh. Much
stronger. That's a good one. Powerade.
Okay, this is what I would typically assume is like a lemon lime sports beverage. A little bit salty. It kind of like sticks in the back of your teeth a little bit. Like,
Powerade, Prime.
That's Prime.
Wow.
I can almost guarantee, based on how these flavor profiles have broken down, the thing that always has the densest, strongest flavor seems like it's always Prime. My favorite is F.
That would in fact be
Yeah, it'd be Prime.
I knew it.
Damn, you're good. Steph?
Oh,
all right.
I like this one.
Party armor, good. All right. Prime? Not so much?
Yuck. Oh, yuck.
Wow.
Okay, so this is like if you just took a really sweet, flat drink and then you added oregano to it. So
Oregano?
there's a slightly herbal
That's an odd name.
flavor on the back, and I don't mean herbal like something nice that you'd want to drink. I mean like something that you'd add to spaghetti sauce. It was close for the one that I hated the most. I think I've got to go with G. It is a unique moment when I feel like I'm drinking part of like maybe my own stomach acid in a sports drink. So we're gonna peg that one as the worst. Followed closely by I, to be honest.
Ooh.
Interestingly, no sugar flavors tended to rank higher than any fully sugared brands, with Powerade Zero being the overall winner with the consistently highest rankings across the board. That said, no one brand dominated every flavor category. And while Prime didn't win everything, it certainly did win a few, with an especially strong performance
Ice
in
Pop,
Tropical
Orange,
Punch.
and
In general, it was consistently well received. The only problem was that it was just much sweeter than any other sports drink brand. The other drinks tended to have flavors that felt thinner, a bit closer to water. Prime, meanwhile, was a lot like Kool-Aid or Pedialyte, a stronger, denser, more syrupy flavor, which in turn made it feel, at least to me, heavier. Because of how dummy thick the flavor was, it wasn't really something that I or the rest of the team would actively reach for to recover from a workout. But just as a flavored water to drink around the house, yeah, that'd be great for that. Even after the taste tests, there was something that I couldn't quite kick. All the other sports beverages did taste fundamentally different from Prime. They all had a slightly muted flavor, even sometimes a salty flavor. And yet here was Prime tasted like a melted lollipop. How? How was the one drink with the least sugar content the one that tasted so much more sugary than the rest? And why did it have a fundamentally different flavor than all the other sports drinks? Again, something felt off about this. Something keeps feeling off about this stuff. What is it? So I went back to the nutrition label again, and that's when it hit me. Look again at the comparison of the electrolytes. Sure, Gatorade has 300 milligrams and Prime has over 800, but the way they get to those numbers is vastly different. Prime has 10 milligrams of sodium, 124 of magnesium, and a whopping 700 milligrams of potassium. Gatorade, meanwhile, has 80 milligrams of potassium.
Isn't that salt?
And 270 milligrams of sodium. The ratio here is almost completely reversed. That is why you're getting a salty flavor from all these other sports beverages. Logan's Prime has 70 times as much potassium as sodium. Gatorade, meanwhile, has a ton of sodium and a teeny tiny amount of potassium. Powerade, same ratios as Gatorade. So I had to keep looking. Body Armor, another top contender in our taste test, is closer to Prime. BioSteel, the one with the juice boxes, came in with a completely different ratio than all the others with equal amounts of potassium and sodium. So that then brings us to what's probably the biggest question in all of this. What is the proper ratio for all these electrolytes?
What's going on?
Is this the thing that's been nagging me about Prime all along? Well, it's important to note that each electrolyte is responsible for something different. Sodium, which we get mostly from common table salt, is the most prevalent, and it basically exists in all the spaces outside and around your cells to help you regulate blood pH and your overall water levels. How much you're peeing out, how much your kidneys are filtering out, things like that. Potassium, on the other hand, works inside your cells to help produce ATP, the little energy molecules that help power your body. Potassium also works in your heart to make sure it's pumping normally. Too much or too little potassium, and you could start having heart problems and irregular rhythms. Calcium and magnesium play smaller but still important roles in your muscle contraction and brain function, keeping you mentally and physically sharp. So at the end of the day, it kind of seems like they're all important in their own right. So which ratio is the one we're aiming for in a sports drink? Well, remember the whole premise of a sports drink. It's to replace the electrolytes that you lose during exercise. That means that we don't need to worry about every electrolyte in the body. We only need to focus on the ones that we're losing during said exercise. And we're not losing them all at the same rate here either. The average person's sweat ratio of electrolytes is 220 milligrams of sodium for every 63 grams of potassium, 16 of calcium, and 8 of magnesium. That means that you're losing nearly 3.5 times more sodium at any given time than any other electrolytes. And if you're doing the type of exercise that needs a sports drink, you need to find one that replaces sodium before worrying about anything else. Looking back at the ratios that we found across our sports drinks, it now comes down to which formula replenishes your electrolytes at the ratio closest to the sweat that you're losing. Knowing that, let's look at Prime. Sure, it has a ton of electrolytes,
potassium,
but none of them
though,
are the ones
not
that you
sodium.
need to be replacing. Prime is giving you a ton of potassium. This thing is practically a banana, but you don't really need potassium in the middle of strenuous exercise. At least you don't need it nearly as much as you need sodium. In your sweat, you lose sodium to potassium at a ratio of 3.5 to 1. But with Prime, you're giving your body 0.014 milligrams of sodium to 1 milligram of potassium. You are essentially completely missing the one electrolyte that your body needs the most while sporting. What about the other sports drinks on the block? Well, Body Armor's ratio is 0.05. It's actually very similar to Prime. BioSteel is at least a 1-to-1 ratio with the same sodium and potassium content. I suspect that they're all sacrificing the sodium because it keeps these drinks tasting sweeter. More sodium means a saltier flavor like the traditional sports beverage.
Oh yeah, the Gatorade and Powerade.
Speaking of Gatorade and Powerade both have astonishingly different ratios than these newer competitors, with Gatorade at a ratio of 3.4 sodium to potassium, and Powerade at the very top of the scale with 4.1 milligrams of sodium to potassium, both coming in shockingly close to the actual ratios of real-life sweat. This, in turn, makes them infinitely more effective than the other three options at actually doing what they say they're doing, replacing.
I think with Logan Paul, I think he's trying not for the sports people, but more for, like I said, or like we heard before, I think it's more for the everyday guy. But remember, I don't think this is for everyday, or at least the sporting world. So if you're going hard, don't grab Prime, just get a Gatorade. But if you're like us, who are just a little more of the light workout, grab Prime, right? Because remember, you can, I think he figured out, maybe we could try to make sure the sodium's not that high because, we're not going to be sweating that much. Which is kind of strange considering, he and KSI are boxers, so you think they would go a little more sodium, right? I don't know. And I guess they don't want to do too salty like Gatorade and Powerade over there, but hard to say. Let's keep going.
What your body loses during exercise. Don't get me wrong, feel free to sprinkle your coconut water on whatever you want. It's great that a lot of these new sports beverages don't have the dyes and preservatives and all the added sugars, but at the end of the day, the reason they're tasting so much sweeter than the Gatorades of the world is that they're missing the main ingredients that sports drinks need to be having: salt in the form of electrolytes. For really bottling and feeding you back your own sweat, Gatorade has made their drinks taste remarkably good over the years. But the thing is, at some point if you're sweating salt, the only way to get it back into your body is to drink it, not paper over it with a bunch of other filler electrolytes that you don't need. What's the conclusion here? Honestly, that the definition of sports drinks and rehydration beverages are just too broad and ill-defined. If you're looking to replace sweat in your body, you need something with more sodium, something that Prime does not deliver on. That said, it's not like Logan is pulling a scam here or anything. He is delivering on exactly what he says he is: a drink full of electrolytes, more than any other sports drink in the space. But electrolytes aren't equivalent. They don't function the same. The formulation of Prime is fundamentally delivering a different product than the Gatorades and Powerades of the world, which in turn allows it to taste less salty while still competing in the same broad category. My personal concern is that other brands, seeing the threat to its consumers, might change their more scientifically accurate formulations to better compete with the increasing threat and better taste of Prime, something that I suspect will end up being a net negative for the entire sports drink market.
Honestly, there's no comparison.
You know what, Logan? For the first time, I think we can actually agree. But hey, that's just a theory. A food theory. Bottoms up. And hey, if you're thirsty for more content, crack open.
I completely forgot about that. But yeah, like I said, I think for Logan, it's more like a casual drink. Like he said, we sweat differently. So like say, if like I said earlier, if you're going hard, professionally, go for Gatorade. But if you're kind of like the casual workout, not sweating as much, I say go, Prime. Because again, you get just about enough of the usual that you're fine, right? I mean, that's how I see it. But actually, I think that's what Gatorade's actually doing. I saw a different Gatorade brand, which I think is actually trying to emulate Prime in a way, but I haven't really looked at the thing. I think they were actually adding caffeine to it, but I'll have to double check. I don't know, but anyway, so there's Logan Paul's Prime. Seems like a sports drink for the casual, exercisers. What do you guys think? You guys drink it? Let me know. And until then, thanks for watching, everybody. See ya.